Alrighty, we are back with another state test prep video. Today we're talking about standard F.IF.2 going further into functions. Let's jump on in. Ryan works for a delivery service. The function f of n is used to calculate his daily pay in dollars on a day when he makes n deliveries. Using the function f of n equals 7n plus 96. Use the function to complete the table shown. So, when you look at this, f of n represents his pay, and the n represents how many deliveries he makes. So his pay is a function of how many deliveries he makes. Okay? Now, if you want to do this manually, when you take the number of deliveries and you need to find out the daily pay, all you would do is you would take out n and you would substitute in however many deliveries he made. So, for example, f of 0, this is check the first line, equals 7 times 0 plus 96. We all know at this point that 7 times 0 is 0. 0 plus 96 is equal to 96. So that would be your first one. Then you would want to find f of 5. Okay, because he made 5 deliveries. So now we're going to take out n and we're going to put in 5 plus 96. 7 times 5 is 35. 35 plus 96. Let's do this off on the side. Our side work here, 11, carry the 1. And then you have 13, carry the 1 again. 131 would be your answer there. And then in this one, they give you the amount he's paid, and you have to figure out how many deliveries he makes. So for that, we're going to take out f of n and put in 145. Because remember, we said f of n represents how much money he makes. Put in 145, and then go 7n plus 96. And we're going to solve for n. To solve for n, you subtract 96 from both sides because we're trying to get n by itself. I'm going to quickly go check our calculator here. 145 minus 96 would be 49 equals 7n. And then once you get rid of the addition and subtraction, you get rid of the multiplication and division, dividing both sides by 7. And you get n equals 7. So 7 would go in here. This is also something you could do in Desmos. Let's talk about how to do that. Okay, we're given the function 7n plus 96. F of n equals 7n plus 96. Now, that's going to give you a graph, which is right about here. And what you can do is you can have Desmos make a table for you. So you're going to hit this cog right here. It says Edit List. And then there's a button here that looks like a table. You're going to click on that. That's going to bring up a table. First off, that already tells you what 0 is if you put in 0 for x. That's going to give you 96. Okay? Now, you can change the numbers in the x column. You cannot change the numbers in the f of x columns, but I'll address that in a minute. So our next one was looking for 5, so you just put in 5. And it will tell you that was 131. Now, our next problem comes from when they give us 145, and you have to find out how many hours it is. What I would do for this, knowing that our numbers are increasing as it goes up, starting at 5, I would then put in 6. What does 6 give me? 6 gives me 138. Is that 145? No. Let's go up another one. 7. 7 gives me 145. So that's it. That's my answer. All right, question 2. A function is given. F of x equals 2 to the x plus 3. What is the value of f of negative 2? So again, if we wanted to solve this problem, we would be taking out our x and putting in negative 2. This would look like f of negative 2 is equal to 2 to the negative 2 plus 3. Remember your negative exponent rules. For your negative exponent rules, You take whatever has a negative exponent and you put it on the opposite side of a fraction and make your exponent positive. 2 squared is 2 times 2, which is 4. So this should be 1/4 plus 3 would be 3.25. Or, again, if you don't want to figure that out, you can have Desmos do the heavy lifting for you. I would always advise having Desmos doing the heavy lifting for you because it just makes your life so much easier. F of x equals 2 to the x plus 3. Okay? And once again, we're going to do the same thing where we hit the cogwheel and we hit the create table, and look at that. It already has -2 in there for us. It tells you f of x is 3.25. So we put in 3.25. Please note, if you forget how to put an exponent into Desmos, that is something you are allowed to ask. There are very few things that I'm allowed to answer for you on the state test. How do I put an exponent into Desmos is one of those things. Complete the table using the function f of x equals 2 times x plus 2 plus 4x. They give us this table here, so I'm going to do the Desmos version of this today. So we're going to do our equation f of x equals 2 times x plus 2 plus 4x. Because I could go through the work of doing the distribution, the combining like terms, all that fun stuff, or I could just have Desmos do my heavy lifting. So I'm going to click Edit List again. I'm going to hit the table button again. Now, the first one it asks us for 0. 0 is already on here. That would be 4. So we'll put in 4. Then it asks us to find 16. Well, we're lucky enough that the y of 16 is already on here. It's under 2. So we'll list that as 2. That asks us to find when x equals 10. So I'll change the 2 to 10. And that gives me 64. And then we need to find when y is 94. So, because I can't change the y value to 94, I'm just going to keep changing my x values. 11 is 70. Whoops. 12 is 76. 13 is 82. And I'm just going to stop when I get to 94, which is right here at 15. And that's my answer. Question 4. A company uses the given quadratic function to model its profits in thousands of dollars, where x is the number of years since 2006. F of x equals -18x squared plus 202.61x plus 1,282.46. Based on the model, what is f of 14? If you tried to solve this manually, this would be a nightmare. Luckily for you, Desmos. So type in the equation exactly as it is. F of x equals -18x squared plus 202.61x plus 1,282.46. The graph doesn't matter. The graph doesn't look very helpful, and that's because it's not. There's very big numbers we're working with here, but to find f of 14, click your cog, click your table, put in 14, 591, 591, and you're done. That's it. All right. One more. A function is shown, f of x equals -1/2 x plus 14. What is the value of f of 10? Okay. Well, by this point, we now know what we're doing. F of x equals -1/2 x plus 14. Cog, table, type in 10. It's 9. Write in 9. And you're done. So that's going to do it for this standard. I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know. And good luck on your test.